Good morning, everybody. It is now Tuesday. Yesterday I put that new piece of floor in there and I built up the beginnings of the inner sill here. What I was going to do was just seam weld that bit of the inner wheel well, which is this bit. Sorry, not inner wheel well, inner wing. That would have come through, come all the way down to the floor and then finished. What I was going to do is push that onto there and then stitch weld it, rather than having to make up another piece, because you really don't need to. But I have got another bit that I could put in there, but I really didn't want to have to, which I shall show you now. You can still buy the complete inner wheel, sorry, I keep saying inner wheel well, inner wing. So that has all of the arch lip, the inner arch lip, then it comes down, forms that return, which is all hidden by the sill, and then that is the bit that you can just see, which I was talking about, pushing and welding. So if I was gonna do this another way, and I think what I did on the diesel and the police car was chop that bit off, weld that in bit into the car. I still haven't fully made up my mind, because the whole point of this car was to retain the patina. So where you've got this original silver paint that's got rust distress to it, but is actually solid most of the way round. All in here is okay, all down there is okay. The only problem is the wheel arch has gone. And because it's gone where it's gone, you know, there's actual sections of it largely missing, like there. So really, if this was a proper restoration, you'd change the whole wing and you'd change the inner wheel arch. I don't want to do that because I'll lose all the patina. I'm definitely not unpicking that wing. My original plan was to just do little localized repairs, but I'm not sure how feasible that's going to be. I mean, none of this is an MOT fail apart from that bit. I don't even think that bit would be an MOT fail. I'm not sure. That is not a MOT chalk mark. That is just weird salt corrosion, I think, like from where it's sat in water. So I still haven't fully made a decision. If I was to change that bit, then obviously I'd be chopping that donor panel up, in which case I'd be doing that bit a bit different. But I just haven't made a decision yet. So this morning what I'm going to do is finish closing up these seams here. I have had a bit of a bash, but it needs to go a bit more. And I'm going to clean up in there as well. I have had a damn good poking with the chisel, and that is all good metal. It's just surface rust. And on the back side of there, hopefully there's enough light for you to see, it's all really good. That is just where the surface rust has come down from that patch up there, which we saw from the inside. That's why access is so limited. The rust doesn't go any further up than that, but you can see the problem. This bulkhead insulation panel is a sponge, and bearing in mind this car has been in this garage and it's been dry for a long time. That is just all saturated water in there, which is horrible, which is why some of these cars do rot out. So what I'm going to do is get a knife, cut this off here, get that bit out of the way, expose how much rust there is there. All the repairs can be done from inside the car, which is good, and I'm not going to set fire to anything other than that brake pipe, which I can lift out the way and insulate in some way. So yeah, my plan for this morning: de-rust in there, leave it covered in Hydrate 80, de-rust all of this bit and that bit, stitch weld there and there so that that outrigger is joined to my new sill, and then make the infill panel for here, and then start tackling that area, so then I can finish the whole of the car from the inside. Then I will probably excavate that wing a little bit more and devise a cunning plan. Anyway, that's enough of me chatting. I'm going to do some noisy stuff. I have closed the garage doors because I'm conscious that whilst it's nice and sunny outside, other people are in their gardens and I'm down here making a hell of a racket. So it's dark in here apart from my work light. I have arranged my nasty scrapey grindy tools. That is the die grinder on the end of a rip off of a Dremel. Normal wire wheel on drill. Then that's my finger sander without a strip on it at the moment. But yeah, those are my tools I'm going to use just to sort of generally clean up this area so that I can treat any remaining rust and then red oxide it. Okay, happy with quite a lot of that. Shame the die grinder bit broke off and flew away, but that's all, you know, I'm happy that's solid. By the time that's treated and then filled with dinitrile or whatever it is I'm going to put in there, it'll be fine. So I'm going to go and get the Hydrate 80, paint all of that lot, and then make up the patches to go on here, and obviously that bit in there as well. Been doing some nice quiet cardboard chopping. That is the bit that will go in there, so it'll be plug spot welded along the bottom and then seamed along the top. I probably could have cut that straighter, but I kind of forgot. Then that bit will go in there like so, and that'll be made out of 2mm. And then this bit will go over the top, be plug welded onto it, and then the bottom is left deliberately long because it has to be hammered over to make that return so that it all looks original. So I'm going to go and get the cutting discs and some steel of the right sizes and chop those bits up and put the holes in. I've made my repair panels. Just, you know, they're dead simple things really, as I had with the cardboard. That goes in there, that one goes on top and gets hammered round. Need the plug weld holes in here. And then this one, I've done a bit more chopping up here because, you know, I said it wasn't straight, so I've basically chopped that off so it's parallel to that line. It really didn't matter, it just will make for a neater looking repair, so that when Mr. MOT man first comes and looks at this, he doesn't go, oh my god, it's a bodged up patch, which is, you know, what can sometimes happen. I've still not made any decisions about this bit, but I'm going to leave the decision for as long as possible because I might as well, because I've got plenty of other stuff to do. So I'm going to wait for that Hydrate 80 to go off, then I can fill it with red oxide, and then that can then be closed off. Under here I've done the Hydrate 80, I've pushed it into all of the seams as well. That's all going off nicely. That's all, you know, solid as a rock now. I also did a bit under here as well, hammered up the seams, so when this bit gets welded, all of this can be painted nicely and then left in red oxide ready for under sealing later on. So I'm going to have a cup of tea, wait for that to go off, red oxide it, cover that up, and weld that bit in too. Well, I've had the tea. That is now, I'm not going to say it's completely dry, but it's dry enough that I can slap a load of red oxide or Bonder primer in here and know that it's going to be fairly well protected. then I can get on with the welding and closing it all up. That won't be rusting anytime soon. I won't be able to paint the back side of this, but along the top of the chassis rail from the engine bay side, there's lots of little square inspection covers, and you can lift them up and directly get access into this section, same as you can from in the cabin. So when the car's done, from the front all the way to the back will just be flooded with dinitrile. So even if I can't treat these bits, the dinitrile will get it, because it's the really good stuff that, unlike wax oil, which is really thick, the dinitrile, when it's warm, is like real thin liquid stuff, and it goes into all of the tiny little cavities, so it's really excellent for this kind of work. So anyway, that's going to do that. I'll go and clean these bits off, zinc it, weld those plates in, and the same again up here as well. So that's just gone over with the grinder just to clean it up. Then just a bit of a dusting of zinc, nothing crazy in there. And one thing I need to do is go and put the 2 holes through this one so it can be plug welded onto there. So while that's drying, I'll go and do that. Can't find any little clamps. Is that recording? Yes it is. Yeah, I can't find any clamps to get in there properly, so I'm just going to have to kind of freestyle it with my hands and try not to burn myself too much. Incidentally, that's 1.5 mil. I couldn't find my 2 mil, but it's such a small piece that it's not really a big deal. Well, I don't care anyway. That's a bit undersunk, but it doesn't matter because this will all be linish smooth for the other bit to go on top. So long as that bit is smooth, then we'll be alright. As you might be able to see in here, I'm welding with quite a lot of heat because I want to be able to grind this flat smooth, and I want enough penetration in there, so it's, you know, I've got this cranked up quite a lot. I'm also keeping it running for longer, which is why I've burnt a little hole, but at least I'm getting good penetration. So that one's done. Not a lot to say really. By the time that's got like seam sealer and stone chip, you probably won't see that repair, which will be good. I've probably ground it a bit more than I might normally, but it's not a big like safety critical structural thing. That'll be fine. So now I'm going to go and work out how best to clamp this in position, or whether I should be trying to tack it from the inside or the outside. I might have to get a bit inventive with the whole clamping methodology as well. One option will be to put self-tapping screws through these holes to like clamp it up, but I don't know, we'll see. I've just been fiddling around with this. What I've decided to do is put it in from underneath, push that up with my hands, just tack it in a couple of places, and then I should be able to hammer the whole lot down from inside, and then get some good plug weld holes on, and then when this is linished smooth and seam sealed, you shouldn't see it. So let's see if I can get that to work. Double check that it's recording there. It's good. I missed with the first one. Looks looking pretty good. Oh, fuck off, shrink wrap. Good, so we'll go inside the car. And hopefully that will all make sense. God damn it. My big work light is actually quite cumbersome, so I'll get rearranged and then I'll show you. Now we are inside the car. You can see what I was aiming for. That obviously is the patch I put in yesterday. There's my repaired inner sill. So that's good metal, that's good metal, that's good metal. So I'm going to run a bead of weld along here, tie that all together, do my plug welds through there, which should work really nice because we've got brand new steel onto brand new steel, and they're both about 0.9, so it should be a nice consistent plug weld. Then when that's on, I'll beat this floor down until that is a tight fit against that, clean all that off, and then I should be able to do a nice weld onto there, and then that bit should be done. Then I need to do that hole. I think earlier I showed what it looks like from the front side. I need to trim off that sound deadening material that just soaks the water onto the bulkhead, then work out how much rot there actually is, chop it out, and then we should be all good to go. I've just spotted something. I don't know what that bracket's for. Don't know. It looks the same as the driver's accelerator pedal bracket, but why it would be fitted and why it would have the grommet in, I don't know. Maybe this car was destined to be a left hooker at some point and they made it a right hooker. We shall never know. Right, so I'm going to do that then. Look at this dude. So it's looking pretty good. I'm happy all of that is solid and closed up nicely. Made a bit of a hole up there, top left, but the rest of it's really good. I think while I remember, and I've got the welder out, I'm going to do the seams of weld along here and here to make sure that that rail is all tied in nicely. I am really pleased with the way this has worked out, because this is the most important line under the car. It's got to be nice dead straight, and it is, and all of this kind of makes sense in how it would have been done in the factory, and it's all, by the time it's painted up, it'll look nice. So I'm happy. And this bit, I think I have made a decision. I am just going to hammer that onto there and put some stitches in, because this is all so much more solid than it would have been. So I don't mind that it's not original in that that doesn't come all the way down to this bottom still. So I might as well do the stitches now, again, while I've got the welder out. Alright, calling that done. It's not artwork again, but that is attached to that, ain't gonna fall off, and that is like pretty damn solid. So I'm happy that I can put the sill back onto there. Well, no, in fact it's inner wing down, comes in and touches down onto here as well. Then it's sill, which comes down and goes onto that. And then it's wing, which also comes down and goes onto that. So that's why I'm happy not having the inner wheel well onto there at that point. It would have made a bigger patch to go in there, would have been harder to weld it nicely, and probably would have been overkill. So that's my justification for doing it that way. Right, I am now going to have some lunch. I lied to you again. I am just shoving a bit of red oxide on, because it dries quite quick, especially when it's still hot from welding. And then hopefully this afternoon I can maybe even seam seal it if I get the other bits done, which would be nice. Seam sealing is just so satisfying. It really makes you feel like you've kind of finished the car, when in point of fact you haven't. Again, this is well stirred, and I'm making sure I stuff it in all of the cracks and crannies, give it as much protection as possible. It's already filled with hydrate 80, so it should be fine, but you know, wouldn't hurt to give it a bit more. Done. Somebody asked the other day about whether I would rather be working in the car park at work where I had space but no shelter, or in a tiny cramped garage where I had shelter but no space, and I would definitely pick outside. Cool. So, shorter seam sealing. The footwell is done, apart from obviously that bit, but hopefully I can tackle that this afternoon. But really, the car is coming along quite nicely. Just need to remember that although I'm making progress, I need to do probably exactly the same, if not more, on the other side of the car.